ಮಹಾನಗರದ ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಿತ ಸಂಘಟನೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದಾದ ಬಿಲ್ಲವರ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಪ್ರಾಯೋಜಿತ ಭಾರತ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿನ 45ನೇ ವಾರ್ಷಿಕ ಮಹಾಸಭೆ ಸೆಪ್ಟೆಂಬರ್ 30ರಂದು ಗೋರೆಗಾಂವ್ ಪೂರ್ವದ ಬ್ರಿಜ್ವಾಸಿ ಪ್ಯಾಲೇಸ್ ಸಭಾಂಗಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಜರುಗಿತು. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ನ ಸಿಬ್ಬಂದಿ ಯಶೋಧರ್ ಕೊಟ್ಯಾನ್ ಅವರ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆಯೊಂದಿಗೆ ಬಿಲ್ಲವರ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ನ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷ ಹರೀಶ್ ಜಿ ಅಮೀನ್ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಶ್ರೀ ನಾರಾಯಣ ಗುರುಗಳ ಭಾವಚಿತ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಆರತಿ ದೀಪ ಬೆಳಗಿ ಮಹಾಸಭೆಗೆ ಚಾಲನೆ ನೀಡಿದರು. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ನ ಆಡಳಿತ ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕ ಮತ್ತು ಮುಖ್ಯ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಣಾಧಿಕಾರಿ ವಿದ್ಯಾನಂದ ಎಸ್ ಕರ್ಕೇರ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರಿದ್ದ ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನೂ ಆತ್ಮೀಯವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸಿದರು. ಬಳಿಕ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಾಧ್ಯಕ್ಷ ಯು ಶಿವಾಜಿ ಪೂಜಾರಿ ಷೇರುದಾರರನ್ನುದ್ದೇಶಿಸಿ ಮಾತನಾಡುತ್ತಾ, ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಸಾಂಕ್ರಾಮಿಕದ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ದಕ್ಷ ಮತ್ತು ಬದ್ಧತೆಯಿಂದ ಭದ್ರವಾಗಿದೆ ಎನ್ನುತ್ತಾ 2020-21ರ ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರತ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿನ ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಸಾಧನೆಯನ್ನು ವಿವರಿಸಿದರು.
Financial year 2020-21 was the most challenging year for the entire world due to various reasons in general and COVID-19 in particular. During the year, majority of the business activities were reeling under the ill effects of the pandemic, which resulted into lowered business opportunities for the ancillary business units as well. Large part of the year witnessed lockdown imposed by the state and central governments, due to which most of the borrowers of the bank could not conduct their regular business activities, resulting in huge drop in their revenues. They could not service the installments as usual, which adversely affected the bank's asset quality. Ultimately, bank's profit as well as income reduced as compared to previous year due to adverse factors which were beyond the control of the borrowers and the bank. During the year, bank continued to focus on mobilizing low cost and retail term deposits to improve its profitability. The pace of credit growth in fiscal year 2020-21 was below the expected level due to the adverse effect of severe economic disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. At the same time, bank extended every possible financial assistance by way of additional loans or by restructuring the existing loans, grant of moratorium period to its borrowers to tide over the liquidity crunch faced by them. These are within the purviews of the guidelines issued by Reserve Bank of India. I wish to present the key highlights of the Bharat Bank's performance for the financial year 2020-21. Total business of the bank stood at rupees 18,945.61 crore. Deposits of the bank stood at rupees 11,676.76 crore. Advances of the bank stood at rupees 7,268.89 crore. Business per employee stood at rupees 13.51 crore. Bank has posted a gross income of 1,125.06 crore as against rupees 1,298.30 crore for the previous financial year. Net profit for the year 2020-21 was rupees 32.80 crore as against rupees 58.87 crore for the previous financial year. The impact of COVID-19 pandemic has affected the credit uptake and CD ratio of the bank. Further, due to higher provisions required to be made towards bad and doubtful reserve during the year,
ಕಾರ್ಯಸೂಚಿಯಂತೆ ಮಹಾಸಭೆ ಮುಂದುವರೆಯಿತು. ಕಾರ್ಯಸೂಚಿ 5ರ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಷೇರುದಾರರು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿನ ಸೇವೆ ಸಾಧನೆಯನ್ನು ಶ್ಲಾಘಿಸುತ್ತಾ ಸಲಹೆ ಸೂಚನೆ ನೀಡಿದರು.
We as Billava Association, the parent body of this Bharat Bank, is very proud with the function of the chairman, vice chairman and the board of directors. In this hard times also, you all have stood strong and given less dividend, I hope, as per the expectation of the shareholders, but nevertheless it is a good efforts by the Bharat Cooperative Bank. I am little concerned with the bank's ARC and the NPA, which needs to be properly, thoroughly worked out by the board of directors, so that we should not have this effects further. I wish you all the best for the coming years.
The duration of the FD period, I kindly request you to give a choice of 2 years and 3 years, that is 24 months, 1 day, and 36 months, 1 day for FD period, since the financial situation is very bad with the customers and facing financial crunch. On behalf of the shareholders and myself, I wish to suggest in the near future to please give a thought to increase the FD rate, which will enable to reduce severity of the cash crisis.
I congratulate the chairman, members of the board for taking a bold step for declaring a dividend in spite of the pandemic period and in spite of the lockdown imposed by the government. Now friends, coming to the awards and recognitions, I'm extremely happy to learn that Bharat Bank was awarded one of the best of the awards under the information technology. This recognition was given to Bharat Bank by no less institution than Bankers Association of India. Bankers Association is the premier body of the country. I congratulate the chairman, members of the board, officers and staff, all those persons who are responsible in getting this award.
I am extremely happy that our low cost deposit has been increased from the previous years. It may be at par with other cooperative banks in the economy. Our other peer banks, if you compare any other peer banks, we are far better. So for that I am congratulating them. So I request them to keep this trend in coming years also. For that I request my shareholders to at least bring 2 savings accounts in the leftover 6 months, so that because we are the owners of the bank, so this is our duty also to support the banks, not only taking the shares and keeping cut. So at least 2 accounts we should introduce in the leftover period of 6 months. That's what I feel it. So that thereby we can increase our low cost deposits and it will be a boost for the banks, and in coming years they will declare more dividend because our profit will increase. So I request all of the shareholders to help banks in these critical years.
One NPA, which has caused a lot of impact not only to the bank, to the shareholders and other borrowers and investors. What I feel, the NPS shown now, it is abnormally high. About 12 years back, we were going with zero NPA. And the reflecting of NPA is not the current business affair, not of 20 or 21. It must have been a legacy of the past. One has to go through this thoroughly. Why so much NPAs are created?
Amendment of 37 in the bank. Last year it is suggested in the annual report and put before the central registrar. They rejected it. Why this year also it is mentioned in this annual report? I don't understand why we are pressing for the that amendment of 37 number. And one more thing I want to suggest, our 4th branch, next to 4th branch, NKGSB's bank is there. It is 35 years old, but their transaction in the bank only current and SB. Rest all it is transacted in the central office. Why we are not going for that? Please take my suggestion.
I would suggest to make some lending conditions very dynamic. For example, a home loan, for example, if somebody is getting a home loan done in a project of two different developers, you can form a rating system for two different projects of two different developers, and you can pass on some incentives to a person who is going for a better developer. Those kind of conditions will help the bank to improve their asset quality in the future. Suggestions about the internet banking. The banking system, internet banking system is good, no doubt, but we need some improvements like incorporating the tax payments in our systems as well, some other vendor payments in our systems that will help us to stick to the bank for all the transactions that I suggest. About internet banking, again, sir, support system needs to be a bit more proactive. Some of the queries are solved nicely, but some of the queries take a long time to solve, and it's frustrating. Today, internet banking is a need and helps to reduce the load of the branches as well. So, request in that front.
I always see the dynamic and very, very sincere, hard-working staff of our bank. I would say they are the backbone of the bank. Repeatedly I have been saying, because I have been associated with this bank from the inception of the bank. I know how these people have worked so hard for the bank. So only main branch where I got, even today I got current account and FD account, I see them working so sincerely, so happily, coordinating with each other, giving due importance to the customers, because bank is mostly service-oriented sector.
Bank is very known as a customer-friendly bank in everywhere. It is very famous. Bharat Bank means everybody knows that. This bank is very strong bank. And I request management, reduce the expenses, give the loan to the, particularly I suggest, this housing loan is a very safety loan. We can more concentrate on housing loan and all that, where the security is more. Because if we give the 10-15% less, then you can recover it anytime. My suggestion, because I request give preference to the small loan, particularly secured loan, housing loan.
ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿನ ಉಪಕಾರ್ಯಾಧ್ಯಕ್ಷೆ ನ್ಯಾಯವಾದಿ ರೋಹಿಣಿ ಸಾಲ್ಯಾನ್, ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರುಗಳಾದ ಎಲ್ವಿ ಅಮೀನ್, ಎನ್ಟಿ ಪೂಜಾರಿ, ಭಾಸ್ಕರ್ ಸಾಲ್ಯಾನ್, ಜೆಎ ಕೋಟ್ಯಾನ್, ಸೋಮನಾಥ್ ಅಮೀನ್, ಜ್ಯೋತಿ ಸುವರ್ಣ, ಪುರುಷೋತ್ತಮ್ ಕೋಟ್ಯಾನ್, ಸೂರ್ಯಕಾಂತ್ ಸುವರ್ಣ, ಗಂಗಾಧರ್ ಪೂಜಾರಿ, ಕೆಬಿ ಪೂಜಾರಿ, ಮೋಹನ್ ದಾಸ್ ಪೂಜಾರಿ, ಪ್ರೇಮ್ನಾಥ್ ಕೋಟ್ಯಾನ್, ಅಲ್ಬಗನ್ ಹರಿಜನ್ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರಿದ್ದರು. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ನ ಜಂಟಿ ಆಡಳಿತ ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕ ದಿನೇಶ್ ಬಿ ಸಾಲ್ಯಾನ್ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗೈದರು. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿನ ಅಗಲಿದ ಮಾಜಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಾಧ್ಯಕ್ಷ ಜಯಸಿ ಸುವರ್ಣ ಹಾಗೂ ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರುಗಳಿಗೆ, ಸಿಬ್ಬಂದಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಶ್ರದ್ಧಾಂಜಲಿ ಸಲ್ಲಿಸಲಾಯಿತು. ಕಳೆದ ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿನ ಒಟ್ಟು ವ್ಯವಹಾರ 18,945 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿ, ಠೇವಣಿ 11,676 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿ, ಸಾಲ ಮತ್ತು ಮುಂಗಡ 7,268 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಆಗಿದ್ದು 32.80 ಕೋಟಿ ನಿವ್ವಳ ಲಾಭ ಗಳಿಸಿದೆ. ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಸಾಂಕ್ರಾಮಿಕದಿಂದ ದೇಶದ ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ರಂಗ ಕುಸಿತ ಕಂಡಿದ್ದು, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರವು ಗಂಭೀರ ಪರಿಣಾಮ ಎದುರಿಸಿದೆ. ಆದರೂ ಭಾರತ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಉತ್ತಮ ಸೇವೆ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯದ ಮೂಲಕ ಬದ್ಧತೆಯನ್ನು ಕಾಯ್ದುಕೊಂಡು 3 ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಿತ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿಗಳನ್ನು ತನ್ನದಾಗಿಸಿದೆ. ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞಾನದ ಆವಿಷ್ಕಾರದೊಂದಿಗೆ ನೂತನ ಯೋಜನೆಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ ಗ್ರಾಹಕರಿಗೆ ಉತ್ಕೃಷ್ಟ ಮಟ್ಟದ ಸೇವೆ ನೀಡುತ್ತಿರುವ ಭಾರತ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್, ವಿದೇಶಿ ವಿನಿಮಯ ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಿರುವ ಕೆಲವು ಸಹಕಾರಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದಾಗಿದೆ. ದೇಶದ ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಿತ ಮಲ್ಟಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಶೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದಾಗಿರುವ ಭಾರತ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಪಥದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಗುವಂತೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ನ ಷೇರುದಾರರು, ಗ್ರಾಹಕರು, ಹಿತೈಷಿಗಳು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ನೊಂದಿಗೆ ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ವ್ಯವಹಾರವನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಸಬೇಕಿದೆ. ವಾಣಿ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್, ಮುಂಬೈ ನ್ಯೂಸ್.